Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 6.3 Notes, Day 2. Today we're going to be talking about graphing basic exponential decay functions. Our learning objective today is to be able to graph basic exponential decay functions. So let's go ahead and talk about the two. Yesterday we talked about exponential growth, where the general equation is y equals a times b to the x, and where b is greater than 1. Okay, so we have our little example, y equals 5 to the x, and remember we always use the same numbers, which is -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so real quickly you can kind of plug in all of these into your calculator. And some of them might be easier than others. 5 squared, guys, 5 squared, we're going backwards, 25. 5 to the first is 5. 5 to the 0, if your exponent 0, your base turns into 1. But now the other ones, you might need a little bit of help. Since I don't have a lot of room, I'm just going to type them all into my calculator. Okay, 5 raised to the -1 is 0.2. Okay. Now it's like, Mr. Gray said, I like fractions better. Okay, put it in a fraction, it's 1/5. All right, and the same for the next one, you would get 0.04, which is 1/25. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. -2, 1, I can't really do that. It's going to be really, really tiny. Okay, so just do the best that you can. And once again, -1, do the best you can. But 0, 1 you can do. 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up to 25 we can't do. But when you draw your graph, okay, make sure it's got a nice curve and you don't touch the x-axis. Okay. Now, we did briefly talk about domain and range. Domain is your x. And for x, it can be all real numbers. Okay, there's no x value right here because your x is your left to right. Okay, there's no stop. Okay, it can be anything. But your y is going to be different. Okay, your y can't be 1. Okay, or it can't be 0. It has to be greater than that. So for this, we would say that y is greater than 0. Okay, now exponential decay, where y is y times b to the x, where 0 is less than b, which is less than 1. Okay, I know that kind of sounds funny right off the back, but you'll get it. Okay, our x, we're still doing the same thing, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And the best way to do some of this to start off with is just plugging it into your calculator. So y equals 1/2 times -2. I'm just kind of writing down what we're doing. Y equals 1/2 -1, and y equals 1/2 -2. So for this, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. We're talking about a fraction, so I'm going to make sure to put it in parentheses, raised to the -2, and we get our answer of 4. Like, Mr. Grice, why does that work that way? Well, let's talk about this real quick, okay? When we talked about this, we would distribute, right? And our new fraction, our new exponents would be -2. Well, if your exponent's negative, drop it like it's hot, and if it's already on the bottom, bring it to the top. So our new fraction would be 2 squared over 1 squared. And 2 squared is 4 over 1 squared, which is 1. And that's how we get 1. Okay? That's the really, really fast version. Oh, you don't need to look at my email. The really, really fast version of what we're doing. Okay? So as we're plugging that in, 1/2 to the negative first is 2. Anything to the 0 is 1. Okay, 1/2 raised to the first is 0.5 or 1/2. Oh, not to the 4th power, Mr. Grice. There, you get 0.25 or 1/4. So as we're graphing this, we have to be careful because we got -2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, 2, 0, 1, half, and then after that it gets kind of hard to do. Okay, so as we're graphing this, it's going the opposite direction. Okay, you can see growth in the blue from left to right, it's getting bigger. But decay from left to right, you can see it's kind of going down. Okay, now the domain. Oh, let's get my smaller pen out. For x, once again, it's all real numbers. You can pick any x value, okay? But the same thing here for y, y has to be greater than 0, okay? The line never touches 0. All right, so let's take a look. Determine whether the given equation represents an exponential growth or decay. Defend your answer. Like, Mr. Grice, I really don't know the difference because there's no graph. Well, there's a way to tell. You look at the base, okay? The base is the thing that tells us, okay? This one represents decay, okay? And that's because the base, which is in the gray, is between 0 and 1, okay? So look at the base and it tells you. Okay, example number 2, growth or decay, we're looking at that. And this represents growth because the base is greater than 1. Okay, so we look at the base and the base is going to tell us what our answer is going to be. Okay, so graph each exponential function and determine if it represents growth or decay. All right, so once right away I'm looking at my base. It's less than 1, greater than 0, less than 1. So right away, it should be a decay graph. All right, so we got -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, 1/3, -2, 1/3 to the negative first. So there's me plugging everything in. Remember that you have to distribute first. If it's up, that should be a 3. My bad. If your exponent's negative, drop it like it's hot. If it's already on the bottom, bring it to the top. 3 squared is 9, and 9 over 1, we get 9. Okay, so guys, some of these, you can do this on your own. You don't have to have a calculator to do this. Okay, the 3 comes up, the 1 drops down, 3 over 1 is just 3. When your exponent's 0, your base turns into 1. Okay, when you multiply everything for that one, you just get 1/3. And 1/3 is 0.33, repeating. That one I got memorized. Okay, distribute your exponent, you get 1 squared over 3 squared, which is 1 over 9. And 1 over 9, when you put that into your calculator, 1 divided by 9, 0.11. Okay, now let's go ahead and graph this. At -2, we're at 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At -1, we're at 3. At 0, we're at 1. And then we're at 0.3, and then the rest, I think the rest are kind of hard to graph, okay? So remember, have a nice curve and do not touch the line. And there we go. Were we right? Is it decay? Is it getting, as time goes on, it's getting closer to 0? Okay? All right, number 2. Once again, look at the base. The base should tell you if it's growth or decay. All right, I know what it is. Let's find out if you guys do. So see if you can guess as we start to plug all this stuff in. So 1/4 to the -2. 1/4 to the -1st. 1/4 to 0. 1/4 to the first, and y equals 1/4 squared. Okay, you can plug it in, you can do whatever you want to. Why don't you see if you can pause the video and fill all of that part, all of the y stuff in, and then we'll graph it together. Okay, good luck. Okay, those are the numbers that you should have gotten. And let's go ahead and graph that. So -2 to the 16th, we really can't do that. But the ones we can graph are right here. We have -1 to the 4th, 0, 1, and then 1 to 0.25. We can kind of guess that. And if you can tell, this is a decay. It starts really high, and then it gets closer to 0, okay? Remember to draw your arrows, and this is decay. All right, number 3. I'm just going to go ahead and start plugging in my x values. So y equals 4, 2 to the -2. Y equals 4 times 2 to the -1st. To the 0, sorry. Oh, why did I put a 0 there? Okay, that's a 2. 4, 2 to the -1. Sorry, I already did -1. Guys, I'm out of it today. Okay, so when we distribute 4 times 2 to the -2nd, remember that -2's got to drop down, so it's positive. Okay, which equals 4 over 4, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. Remember the 2 drops down because it's negative, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 to the 0 is 1, and 4 times 1 is 4. 2 to the first is 2, and 4 times 2 is 8. 2 squared is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, and remember, you can plug this into your calculator. It'd be 4 times 2 raised to the -2nd. Okay, if you're having trouble, you can plug this into your calculator. Oh, I forgot to put this one in, 16. All right, let's graph this. Okay, -2, 1, -1, 2, 0, 4, that's 2, 3, 4, 1, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we can't get the other one. Okay, so this one, there we go. It's rising. So is that growth or decay? It's growth. Okay, so just remember, looking at your base, it should tell you if it's growth or decay. Did our base for this one tell us that it was? Yeah. Okay, looking at that, it tells you, right? So this one, remember, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so we'll go ahead and write all of these out. 1/2 to the -2, 1/2 to the -1st, 1/2 to the 0, 1/2 to the 1st, and 1/2 squared. Okay, so however you're comfortable doing it, I want you guys to do the rest of this on your own. So see if you can figure out what all the y's are and then put your graph in. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, so there we go. There's our graph with all of our numbers, and like this said, our fraction told me that that was decay. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next one. The last one, number 5, you guys are all on your own. I'm not even going to set it up. I want you to do everything yourself. Okay. So go ahead and pause that video, figure out this whole chart, and good luck. And there you go. And looking at this graph, it is growth, which you should have known right there just by looking at the 3. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's it for Algebra 1, Unit 6.3 Notes, Day 2. Your homework is 6.3 Practice B. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.